Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Omkar Sangita Dilipra, faculty and mentor at AFMG. And today I'm glad and elated to welcome on board two of our successful graduates. One is Dr. Joseph Jose, and second is definitely Navda Chanana. Now, important is, first of all, both of them belong to a prestigious institute in Mauritius, and that is Anna Medical College. And I'm glad to introduce both of them to you, not FMG exam. So first of all, I would like both of you to introduce yourselves to our audience. Please go ahead, Dr. Joseph first.
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Joseph Emmanuel Jose. I'm from the batch of 2018 who are passed out from Anna Medical College, Mauritius, and I've undergone my coaching in AFMG in Delhi.
Hi, I'm medical in Mauritius. Passed my FMG in very first attempt, and I did my coaching from AFMG.
Thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to tell my audience why you when students begin their preparations, the most important problem that they face is actually they are always in a dilemma. We have a lot of queries, and there are no seniors or they are not available for us to ask our doubts to. So that's the reason, on behalf of all the FMG aspirants, I'm here to ask all the doubts and queries that they have, and hopefully both of you are going to answer that for us. So now, first of all, Vita, I would like to ask you, what was the strategy of your when we've seen a lot of people saying that we did not prepare at all during our college days, and we directly started preparing from here, and we scored beyond 200 or almost 190s. So I would like you to throw some light on that also. When did you begin your preparations, and what is your initial strategy? Dr. Navda first.
I actually studied during my college time. I would not say that I did not study. But specifically for FMG, that I started only joining FMG, that's in January. And I did accordingly, like how they advised me. I followed all of that.
Thank you so much. Dr. Joseph.
Yes, for exactly the same. The thing is, here during college days, our basics were strong in either the clinical and paraclinical subjects. Our medicine, surgery, OBG was, I would say, very weak, but we had a good stronghold in that. And then when we came to AFMG in Delhi around January, we came in the very first batch. Jan 25th, if I'm not mistaken, was the very first batch intake. So studied on how to approach a question and how to study in the MCQ based format. In college, we had studied the whole thing as a whole, but here we study the MCQ based format.
True. So that's most important. Thank you for answering that question, because a lot of people always think that it was only these 6 months of hard work that has led to this result. So for those who are usually in your UG days, please start preparing ASAP, as they both have discussed that they were preparing from the very first time. So that has to be remembered. Next important, my question to you, Bita, is obviously when you have come to Gautam Nagar in Delhi, definitely there were a lot of options. Like there were obviously a hell number of options right now for coaching institutes available. So why AFMG? What was the basic reason to join AFMG at that point of time? Dr. Joseph first.
Okay, let me go ahead. So first, I can say the first and foremost is our seniors had joined here in AFMG from Anna Medical College itself. They have gotten a very good result. They have given good comments and reviews about it. And then secondly, when I myself had joined there, I could say first Mahesh sir was there. That was the first person I met in the AFMG team. He was there. He was giving us counseling on how to approach the thing, and he made us feel welcomed as well. And then the faculty there, we had our first class psychiatry by Dr. Ankit. I really it was like a psychiatry 101 class with him, and he explained from the very basics as well. So it was a better understanding, and then I knew myself that this is the place for me.
Great. So that's that you get from your seniors, you have to follow that and experience it by yourself. So that's most important. Navda, what was your experience?
I was after asking my seniors for advice. They were already studying at AFMG during that time. They told me to join on offline. And then after meeting Mahesh sir, he explained the difference between the two. And then I thought that I should go ahead with offline classes. And I think my decision was right.
Great. And that's most important because right now in this era of online institutes and videos and everything which is available readily, the most important problem that people face is usually everybody thinks that they will be able to do it online. But I'm more aware about this that a lot of us may not be able to sustain our attention for those long periods or long hours on an online mode. And that's the best decision I was an online offline student itself. So yeah, I can definitely resonate with that. Now, my second question to all of to both of you would be definitely initially when people come back, like at least you would have studied somewhat, but a lot of people are like they usually haven't touched books in their 5 or 6 years of medical journey. So then these people are always in a state that they feel that these classes able to manage that much? Will I be able to sit in that classes for those long hours? And even after coming back, I have to revise, I have to solve MCQs. So was it manageable? First of all, a lot of people feel because in a span of 4 to 6 months, completing the 19 subject is not possible. Second, MCQs is not possible. So in the terms of time management, I want to ask you, was it definitely easy for you, Dr. Navda first?
It is manageable, sir. I wouldn't say that it is not. It's definitely because we are not used to studying for so long hours at a stretch, attending the classes and then going back and revising that. It's difficult, but I think it's manageable. But we just have to stick to our schedule. That's most important.
Great. So thanks for answering that, Dr. Joseph.
Yes, the first, for me, I feel our mindset towards a thing should be first strong, and you shouldn't give up in between. It's gonna be very tough. So many during your life, I ever in this place first year. Even in my 6 month journey, there had been phases, but then it is totally manageable if you listen to the faculty. They're all there same path that you have gone through. So have faith in them and you can.
Much for answering that. So now basically once you have answered that doubt, like a lot of people had in their mind, next I will move on to specifically about your experience in the FMG preparations. First I'll talk about that and then I'll come to FMG. First, basically just about your journey of this preparations of 4 to 6 months. As you have rightly mentioned that there will be highs, there will be lows. You just have to stick to your schedule. But I know that's not very easy because I always say this is a marathon and you would have shares of highs and lows and getting off track and definitely getting exhausted and burnt out. So, how did you manage to maintain the pace throughout this 4 to 6 months? How did you manage your classes and then your revisions effectively? Dr. Joseph, first.
So when the classes had started first, so they were started with anesthesia and everything. For me, I paid attention in class. Whatever I tried my maximum to pay attention in class. How much ever I could answer, I tried to answer, even if it was wrong. I got so many wrong answers many a time. But then the major thing is correcting it that self, correcting myself that time, and then moving along. So one was that I paid attention in class. That helped me later as well. Then secondly, when you need a break, you can ask the professor. He's welcome. He'll tell you, try to sit through a 2.5 journey, try to sit through a 2.5 session, and then you go for a break. So we try to very first session of class, all the professors have tried to inculcate that habit inside of us. Sit in a 2.5 class, and then you do whatever for a tea break. So then we had a lot of caffeine as well during the 6 months as well from that time. And then
So that's so you have mentioned rightly. Like caffeine is your best friend during these few months of preparation, and that has bound to happen usually to me as well. So, Dr. Navda, what was your experience and how did you manage? Like, what was your schedule basically, and how was it easy?
I used to follow whatever the professors used to say because I feel the person who is teaching, they know how to study the subject the best. So I used to follow that individual advice on every particular subject, and that's how I studied it. So that helped me.
Right.
In
So now,
addition,
yeah, go ahead, please.
in addition to that, see, whatever the professors have given, they're all us. So we kept to the same sources, even though we had online platforms, reputed online platforms, I may say. But then once we are in an offline class already, and we understand saying from the very basics, he has taught us from ABC. So then I didn't change my source. We kept that same notebook, that same notes, the same example, the way he taught us stuff. All
Actually, my next question was related to that itself. Like a lot of people do change their sources again and again. But as you rightly mentioned, even though you had access to online platforms, still you chose that if you have offline class, follow that till the very end. That's very important. So now, actually, what happens? Why people tend to get off track and why people tend to go to the other sources is because a lot of people feel that the notes which are given, even if it comes offline, so if the notes which are given they are lesser, they may not cover a lot of content, or they will not be able to answer a lot of things in the. So my question was on that only. What is your take on the AFMG classes? Basically, were all your classes virtual? Were they taught, as you already said, they taught you from the basics? Virtual and in were enough to pass the FMG examination, definitely. The experience and classes. Please go ahead, Dr. Joseph first.
so came to FMC, AFMG from the very basics. Even AFMG had made a schedule in such a way that they teach the basic subjects first, so you understand the later complicated subject that had a lot of integration, like medicine at pharma and various other things. So they made sure they taught patho in the beginning, they taught pharma in the beginning, and then they went to medicine. So that was they schedule the subjects. So it was easier for us to grasp the information and to apply it as well. So it became easier. Then secondly, the as you said, the sources. Again, I the same source, even though again offline, we came offline, we trusted the AFMG coaching. And once you're in that seat, you got to trust your coaching center. You don't have to look right. And some people uh, this I'm gonna is this topic so important and he has not taught it, what is going on, why did he do this, why did he miss it? But then those thoughts have come. But then if we pay much heed to this, we're not going to study what he has given in the notes, and that is of major more importance than the 2-3 marks or 2-3 questions that have not been taught. You're going to break your head over that, rather you break your head over the note that he has given first. So that's that.
So that's most important actually, because we tend to skip few less important and few rare topics think are of not very importance in the exam. They may appear in the examination, that nobody is denying, but the chances, the probability is very, very less. So students tend to focus on those rare aspects which have been missed. Dr. Navda, what was your take with, or what was your experience with the AFMG faculties in the classes and the notes?
Definitely enough, and I feel it was the best faculty who came and taught us. And I do agree, they cleared our basics. There are certain things that I never understood before. For the first time, I actually understood why that, and those unanswered, they were answered here. So the notes were very nice, and I could solve most of the MCQs, and whatever was remaining, that was covered in the test and discussion. TNDs helped us a lot. It taught us what we should emphasize on more, and I feel TNDs were also, it's the most important part of preparation. Even more than it's so you used to tell us how to think, how to read in between the lines. I think most of us can rule out 50%. Only among the two options, we have to learn that skill. And for that, even more than notes, that TND session are important.
True. So that's most important. Thank you for mentioning them. My next question would be regarding that itself, because the thing that differentiates AFMG from everything else is the number of revisions that you get over here. Is otherwise the classes are conducted almost in every other institute which is available. The more important thing that you get is the amount of revisions. Like the faculties come for the revisions, and along with your regular classes, there are tests and discussions which are conducted. And lastly, there will be a quick revision session, QRS as well. So, as you have rightly mentioned about that, what was your experience with it? As you rightly mentioned, what they taught you actually, but why it is important to attend a test and discussion? Because not only students are not a part of regular or FMG, what would be your advice? Because I've seen a lot of people missing out on test discussions. They feel if I'm not prepared, I should not go for it, or they'll always be in a dilemma that I'll get judged. So, what is your Dr. Navda first?
I would definitely advise everyone to attend. Even, I mean, I feel that was the most important part of my preparation. Even, and the best part about AFMG is that even if we miss it, the app. So many times I have watched the videos instead of being there, because sometimes we are exhausted from the classes, and it's a very long session. So, but I feel I still remember the first TND that I attended was biochemistry, and I thought that I have studied it very nicely and to be able to solve 80% of it, and I went home traumatized. But that was my first realization, that how important it is to solve the questions, to understand what they are asking. It is very, very important. I would definitely recommend everyone to at least do that.
Great, great. So, as you have mentioned rightly, like a lot of students, usually I know during my first or second TND, most of the students are traumatized after their results because they definitely have a lot of expectations. They have done well, but still, but actually, as you rightly said, that was the first time that you realized, and that will actually give you the motivation that will ignite the spark within you. Dr. Joseph, what is your take and experience with that?
Yes, the TND sessions, first and foremost, are one of the most important sessions that have helped us through our journey to get such good marks. Then, secondly, it is actually a handful. The amount of information that we get from the TNDs as well. It first, the TNDs is by Dr. Research. Clears all the basics. He makes us realize the key in each question. He tells us the answer directly. And not only that, he says why this is the answer, and why this is the only answer, and this is the best answer, and why also not the other options are not the answer. So he does that from A to Z, everything in between. And then the first one again was biochemistry. We had studied, and we thought we aced that subject. We did 2 revisions of it, and then we came back depressed. We were sitting there and we're like, oh my God, this is how the FMG exam is. And there's a speculation and rumors of saying the June exam is going to be very hard and the exam is going to change. And all of that was just going through our heads, at that moment. Then when you had discussed it, thing is, the thing was there. We just didn't know how to apply it unless the TND sessions were there. In the notes, everything is there, but the TND helps us to apply that knowledge in the question format and do the MCQs. And then again, one more plus point is that, again, we were not there in all the TND sessions offline. So we made a schedule and we tried to stick to it as much as possible. But then always the things were uploaded, all the videos and the study material at that time within a day or two. It would have been uploaded on the AFMG. And if we you would be there in a moment's time.
So thank you for mentioning all of that, actually about the test and discussion sessions, because as you rightly said, it's not only important to gather the knowledge, it's important to apply the knowledge as well, to read between the lines and the questions, what exactly the examiner has to ask. Thank you so much for mentioning that. Now, definitely, I would like to ask, okay, attending classes, revising was one part of your journey. Second thing was, like, once the classes were almost done, still you had your revision sessions going on by the faculties themselves coming back. But more important in that revision time is not actually about the coaching institute then. Then the ball is in your court, because whatever we had to give you, we have delivered. So then what was your strategy in the last 45, 50 days which were left prior to the examination, your revision strategy? I would like you to share with people. That was first thing. And second, MCQ solving, how important. Dr. Joseph first.
Okay. So for last 45 to 50 days, I had opted for self-revision. So I had opted for self-revision. So the plan was, it was on paper, it was so easy. We complete this in time, we in another time. And we have done this already. So it's going to be a piece of cake. So that was the plan for the first 50 days. So then as we started, I started with the unexpected, and I said, okay, let me leave this half, then I'll do another thing. So every day the plan actually changed in between, but that at first we were getting startled. Oh my God, this is happening, exam is getting closer, we're not doing anything. But then we thought, what can we do now? We just have to study what we have studied. We have done this before. We have to calm ourselves, right? We have to calm ourselves down, get a stress buster, do what you have to do and calm yourself down. And then the thing is, it's in your head, you just in the areas where to do it. And secondly, we did PYQs. We'll in each PYQ, what were the more than the PYQ, we saw what was the PYQ, and then we studied what was the topic. So like that, we did the PYTs. So we saw in the subjects like anatomy, if I had done it halfway, the other half I did by PYQs, and the PYQs, I mainly looked at the previous year topic. So that topic I had read fully if I had missed it in anatomy. So I had kept for the small subjects, maybe 1 day each, and then for the major subjects, 3-4 days each. So that was the last 45 days. And for me, to be honest, it didn't stick to the plan. I did whatever till the last day. It was all relaxing, not much studying, not much putting more knowledge into the head. And whatever I could, I just read through the T&D notes. We had made handwritten notes. So I believe I study much better when I when I made written notes. So I did that and had a look at that final.
Great. So I feel you mentioned a lot of important points during sessions. Have to actually focus on. Most I like last one. In discussion, don't sit over there idle. If I am writing, you're supposed to write. And that's the important thing. I had seen your group at least making that effort of writing the important points that you tend to miss out, or the student holding the hands and me. So if understand it much better when you write it. Second, importantly, that you have mentioned that you cannot stick to the plan. None of us actually did. Even during our preparation, we could not stick to our plan, but at least it's important to just maintain that momentum being built up. So that's more important, actually. Dr. Nauda, what was your revision experience and how important it is to solve the MCQs, basically? Because a lot of people tend to miss out on that. So what was your experience with that?
Even I opted for self-revision at in the last 45 days. I didn't attend all the revision sessions, only a few of them which I felt that I needed. Otherwise, I revised myself. I still remember my first day when Dr. Vikas told us that do only what you can revise 3 times.
Yeah.
Only study that much content. So I stick to that, and I tried my best to revise everything thrice. I think I did all the subjects most 3 times, and that was my approach. And I think that was the last would not want to leave our books. We'll be we'll be very scared. But it's opposite. Last week we are not able to focus. We are so anxious. It's but that time is the most important time to actually revise. Don't look at any new stuff. Just keep reading through the notes. Just keep looking at it. And as Joseph mentioned, we learned from you to actually study and write. I still remember you saying that just scribble. It's fine. Just scribble it, but you have to write. And that was the advice that even I followed, and it really helped. We know that we remember more by doing that. And as far as MCQ concerned, again, learn to actually, learn the most out of those MCQs. I did MCQs, but my approach was how we learnt in TND. Know why the other options are not correct, so that will help us in future those options. That's I learned everything here.
That's so great to be mentioned important things revision sessions, as you said, that minimum three revisions and what you can revise much. That's more important. The best advice that Dr. Vikas could give, I know that. Apart from that, as you rightly mentioned, that in the last time, it's more important. Both of you have said it's about self revision. It's basically like people think if we keep attending classes till the last day, we are going to pass. I feel it's more important that you have to do it on your own because faculties, they may do whatever, but they cannot just set around everything in your brain. And that's most important. So now I would like you to ask one more question, and that would be about the day, about the exam. Because I have seen people who are stuck usually in the 140, those who just not even manage the anxiety and the nervousness on the examination day. And it's on peak. And so, how did you manage that anxiety and nervousness? Because I saw that at least you would have gone through that. And how did you manage that so well, so well in your exams as well? Dr. Nauda, please go ahead.
I think I had that advantage that I am from Delhi. I was staying in Gautam Nagar during vacation, but the last few days I went back home. I felt more, that's your environment, your family is there. So whenever I'm stressed or anxious, they were all there with me. And I also used to go out a little when I stressed, a break. Not for many hours, but like for some time just to have a change of the environment. That's how I managed my anxiety.
That's great. I feel taking enough breaks is actually important because people over in Gautam Nagar, when they come, they have been told and hammered this in their mind that you have to study day in and day out, and otherwise you will not pass and all of that. So I also tell a lot of students, but they are like, no, you can say that. I feel actually that's important because it helps you manage yourself much better. Dr. Joseph, what was your take on the examination? How
Uh,
difficult, how easy it was to manage?
on the examination, actually, I was also not studying like about prior to the examination. I kept cool, but then out my mind, I still remember I was thinking, what are the anti-glaucoma drugs? Shit, I did not revise that. But then I said, it's okay. I'll remember it in the exam time. I'll not on that because there there can be this thing. If I just remember only that thing from pharmacology, I'll not remember anything else that I've studied over the 6 months and prior to 5 years as well. So on that day, so many thoughts that come into your mind, but the goal is to keep calm. And on the examination day, you have to have a proper sleep, stay hydrated, go to the washroom before to the examination, uh, and then Vikas sir had come with us towards the exam center. He gave us motivational words. Those words was also very important, and more importantly, may I add, was we had a session before the examination, that online session with Dr. Vikas, Dr. Mark, Dr. Omkar. So at the examination center, that was only going on. When I can remember when the second part had come, I wanted to change a few answers. Because I was like, remember my face when you change that answer. Remember that. And then there was and to my surprise, the clinical part was little more tougher than I anticipated in the part two. So that was a one. Then you had also said, remember, these are just 50 questions that are just tough. There are more questions to be answered. Keep your cool, and then you can go ahead. And then during the course, there was also stress. So that time we were, see this, if I had done 10 hours, if I had done 20 pages, the next day, 10 hours, I would do only 10 pages. So I knew it was not being, I would 3, 4.
And I feel doing a lot of work in the last 10 days is not going to help you. Rather, in the last 10 days, you should be more relaxed and just confident for appearing in the examination and just manage yourself well. If you do that, I feel you'll get wonderful results in the examination also. So now that comes me to the last question of this interview, and that is, what is your most important advice to all the upcoming FMG aspirants, either who are in the pre-final or final year over there, or those who have already come over here back to India? So what is your advice? Dr. Joseph first.
Okay, so first off, if you're selecting a coaching center, stick to that coaching center. Don't go waver anywhere. Stick to your notes. And then you need hard work, persistence, and perseverance. If three, and it's a 6 journey, it's going to be long, it's going to be hard, there's going to be ups and downs, but you still have to stick to it, and then the end result will definitely be fruitful.
Great. So, Dr. Navda?
My advice would be, yes, definitely stick to, first decide and then stick to it. Don't change it. Whether you decide whichever coaching or whatever, if you're deciding offline or online, stick to it and give your best shot. Don't think, just keep vision is, and consistency is most important. And don't forget to solve questions, because that is also very important part of our preparation. And definitely don't forget to do GTs, because GTs are more than the accuracy. It's about training your brain to work for 2.5 hours continuously. So we have to find our own balance. Everybody will come with their advices. You have to identify your own strength and weakness and make a plan and try your best to stick to it.
True. That's most important, I feel. So, rightly mentioned 2 or 3 important points that I would like to highlight out. That is definitely identify your own strengths and weaknesses. People would be there along with you, not work for you. That's important. Second important thing, as you rightly mentioned, MCQ solving is important part. But apart from that, even giving GTs or appearing for GTs is important because they train you. Doesn't matter what is your score in the GT. It's more important just to train yourselves in that regard. And as you both rightly mentioned, revisions are the key to pass this examination, and it's doable, obviously. So thank you for the interview. I'm more glad and elated, and I must admit that this is one of the best interviews I've had in the recent times, because you were on the or to the point, definitely, with each and every answer. And I would like to thank you for that on behalf of Team A, as well as all the FMG aspirants who will get benefit from this interview. Thank you so much. And wishing you all for all your years, and congratulations to you once again.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.